My name is Anmol Bhutani and today I am going to explain the task 4.1P, which is persistence layer. So now we are going to see what I have done in this task. So in this task I have used PostgreSQL setup. Actually that we can say it is a open source relational database system. Uh, for this task I have used this to store the data for the robot controller API, and I installed this PostgreSQL on my system and created a database called SIT331. Here you can see to store the robot command and map tables. To creating the database, I used Azure Data Studio to connect to the PostgreSQL and create the SIT331 database. Here you can see that here is the SQL command I have used to create the database. After that, to creating the table, uh, like I created two tables, robot command and map. These tables store data for robot commands and map respectively. Here you can see the command for robot command table. So this is the command for the robot command table. You can see properly, and after that here is the SQL command for the map table. You can see properly, and after that for inserting the test data, like I inserted some test data into the tables to verify that they work correctly or not. Like for example, here this I have added inserted. So this I have inserted to verify that they work correctly or not. After that, now we are moving to the schema.sql file. Here is the file, and this file contains the SQL commands needed to recreate the database schema. Actually, this is very useful for deployment or sharing the database structure with others. Here you can uh, see the contents of this schema.sql file. You can see properly. Like here also, like this creates the robot command table with the columns for id, name, description, uh, is move command. You can see id, name, description, is move command, created date and modified date, and similarly this is for the map table. Like in the map table also, wait a minute, here it is. You can see this uh, with columns for id, columns, rows, description, uh, created date, modified date, and a uh, similarly as the table for the robot command. Like I generated this file using the Azure Data Studio by selecting the schema only option during the backup process. Like you can see here. See, from here I have created this. After that, we are moving to the API code which I have done. Here it is. Like the API is built using .NET and connects to the PostgreSQL database using the npg SQL library. Here you can see. Like this task is implemented in the robot command data access and map data access classes. So first we are looking to the robot command data access classes. So in this file, here it is, and this class handles all database operations for the robot command table. And this method connects to the database and executes a SQL query to retrieve all robot commands and maps the results to a list of robot command objects. Moving to the map data access file. Here also similarly, the map data access class handles the database uh, and operations for the map table. Here is the get all maps method. You can see properly. Now after this I have used Postman uh, for testing the I have used Postman tool for testing the APIs, and I have used it to test all the endpoints of the robot controller API. So here you can see the Postman tool I have opened, and the first endpoint is like get all robot commands. This endpoint retrieves all robot commands from the database, and it sends a get request to the URL. Here it is. You can see the URL I have inserted here, and the response will be list of the robot commands in the JSON format. Here you can see, and with the proper result you can see here. Moving to the next endpoint, get robot command by ID. This is the endpoint, and this endpoint retrieves a single robot command by its ID. It sends a get request to this URL where ID is the ID of the command you want to retrieve. The response will be similarly JSON object representing the robot command. Here you can see with the correct result 200. Okay. Moving to the next endpoint, post add robot command. This endpoint adds a new robot command to the database and it sends a post request to the URL here which I have inserted with a uh, JSON body containing the command details. Here you can see, and the response will be uh, here in the JSON format only, and you can properly see the accurate result on the screen. Now moving to the next endpoint, put update robot command. This endpoint updates an existing robot command by its ID and it sends a put request to the this URL where ID is the ID of the command you want to update. Here you can put the ID like I have inserted one. And the request body contains the updated command details. Here you can see, and the correct result is here. After that, this endpoint delete robot command, and this endpoint deletes a robot command by its ID. Here is the ID we can put, and it sends a delete request to this URL where ID is the ID of the command you want to delete. Similarly, here we can change the ID or put the ID and it will delete that command. Moving to the next endpoint, get all maps. This endpoint retrieves all maps from the database and it sends a get request to the this URL which I have added, and the response will be a list of maps in the JSON format only. You can see the JSON format and the response. Here it is. Here is the response and with the correct output. Moving to the next endpoint, get map by ID. This endpoint retrieves a single map by its ID and it sends a get request to this URL. Here we can put the ID again. You can see, and where ID is the ID of the map you want to retrieve. The response will be similarly in the JSON object representing the map. You can see the result and with the correct output. The next endpoint, post add map. This endpoint adds a new map to the database and it sends a post request to this URL which I have inserted here with a JSON body containing the map details. Now here you can see the response with the correct output. Again we are moving to the next endpoint, put uh, put update map. This endpoint updates an existing map by its ID, and it sends a put request to this URL, and here we can add the ID, mm, insert the ID, like I have inserted one, where ID is the ID of the map you want to update. This request body contains the updated map details. After that, to the next endpoint, this endpoint deletes a map by its ID. Like delete map is the endpoint, and this endpoint deletes a map by its ID. It sends a delete request to the URL. Here I have inserted the URL. Similarly, you can see where ID of the map you want to delete. So here is the correct output, and this is the URL which I have inserted in, like I have made it the environment. I have set the environment earlier, and I am using this base URL in all endpoints. So this is my Postman portion which I have used for testing the endpoints, which are correct also. So this is my code files. This is schema.sql file you have already seen, and this is the PostgreSQL uh, tool which I have used. So this is my entire task which I have done, and also I have demonstrated in the full video what I have done in this task. So thank you.